Ceddanne Rafaela was robbed of American League Rookie of the Month. Why? I'll tell you on today's Locked On Red Sox.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed for free. So you might not want to miss out, because why not tune into something that's free, right? Locked On is your team every day. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Welcome to Locked On Red Sox, where the team is up and down this year, and it makes the emotions on this show be very up and down. If you're looking for a show where somebody connects with your emotions when it comes to this team, I got you, because I promise you, when the Red Sox lose, I am in the worst mood. So, as you can imagine, it's been a very up and down year for me emotionally, because of the fact that the Red Sox really are good at sticking at 500. Whenever they start to gain some life, get a couple games over 500, they drop back down to that 500 mark, then maybe they'll slip back into a game below 500, then go back to right at 500. So this team definitely has created a habit of just being good at being average, and that is what they are. I can't really think of a better word to describe them other than the fact that they are mid. And I think if they were not afraid to spend a little bit of money this offseason, combined with the fact that they just have a couple too many injuries, that is the combination that makes me a little bothered by where they're at right now. Because if they had been willing to spend a little bit more money before the season started and they didn't have as many people injured, they probably would be a lot more competitive right now than they are, with a chance to compete for the division. But they are still in the mix for a wild card spot, so I'm hoping that moving forward they are able to stay in contention for a wild card spot, and that they can keep themselves afloat and continue to win some games, despite the fact that there are some injuries that have been added over the last few days. But one player who has absolutely contributed to the positive aspects of where the Red Sox are at right now is Ceddanne Rafaela. He's a very versatile player, can play both in the infield and in the outfield, and he is starting to pick things up at the plate. The biggest issue for him going into the season was, can he be productive from an offensive standpoint? And in a game over the weekend in which the Red Sox defeated the Tigers, he hit 2 home runs. So the hope is that he's starting to heat up at the plate, and it was talked about that he started to change his offensive approach. He tweaked some swing mechanics in an attempt to get going at the plate, and it seems to have worked. The adjustments seem to be paying off. That was his first career multi-homer game when he launched a 3-run shot off Kenta Maeda in the 4th inning of that game. So over the last 11 games, Rafaela is actually batting .289. He went 11 for 38 with 3 homers, 2 steals, 9 runs, and 10 RBIs. The Red Sox did win that game on Friday night, 7-3. So it almost feels like we can start to be a little bit more confident in him figuring things out offensively and starting to gain that sense of command at the plate and knowing what to swing at and what not to swing at. He definitely still has some trouble with the swings and misses, so there is room for improvement there. he is on pace to record 19 homers with 22 steals, 76 runs scored, and 90 RBIs this year. So that's definitely a good sign. He also has a sprint speed in the 93rd percentile, so he's able to run fast around the bases. He swiped 30 bases over just 60 games in Double-A as a 22-year-old last season. A lot of projections actually had him hitting 250 for the rest of the season. So that's pretty good, and I would not complain about him hitting at that level, because if you combine that with his elite defense, he could be a very valuable piece for this Boston Red Sox team moving forward. As of right now, he has a 209 batting average with a 239 on base percentage and 378 slugging, but those numbers will go up if he continues to improve at the plate in the rate at which he is right now. One thing to keep in mind is he does have a high chase percentage. In 2024, his chase percentage is 42.1%. So he does need to gain a better sense of when to not swing, because he swings at a lot of pitches outside the strike zone. So that's something that holds him back, I believe, on offense. But as of late, he definitely has been hitting better and seems to have gotten more in touch with where he needs to be offensively. And not to mention the fact that he makes at least a couple highlight reel catches a week. I mean, he made a couple more outstanding plays defensively in the series against the Tigers. So his defense is something that's going to keep him very valuable for this Red Sox team. Even if they don't see the productivity they want to see from him at the plate, he is here primarily for his defense. When it comes to his fielding stats this year, he very much is in a very good spot there in terms of his ability to make great plays in the outfield. Just to give you a perspective, so far this year in 166 innings, he's had 183 opportunities and he's had 110 putouts. A putout is basically the fielder who is physically recording the act of completing an out. So whether that's stepping on the base for a force out, tagging a runner, catching a batted ball, or catching a third strike, or catching a fly out, no matter what the play is, whoever the fielder is physically making that play gets credit for the put out. So he has 110 of those this year. So he has a good amount of impactful moments as a defender. 956 fielding percentage overall, which is very good. Only 8 errors on the year. So he defensively will make an impact. And when it comes to the month of May that he woke up significantly from April at the plate. And that's why I feel like he got robbed of American League Rookie of the Month, which went to a Yankees pitcher in Luis Gil. I feel like Rafaela deserved that, not only because he woke up at the plate in the last month, but because he has more versatility and his ability to play very good all-star caliber defense in both the infield and in the outfield, as well as his ability to start to crank things up a little bit at the plate. I feel like the reason he didn't get it was because of his offensive performance, but I feel like he deserved it because of how much of an improvement he's starting to show. And I feel like if you're looking at Rookie of the Month, you want to see that growth. And I feel like Rafaela displayed that growth of showing, I belong here and I am doing everything that I can to continue to develop and continue to do what I need to do for this team. So I believe that he should have gotten that honor of Rookie of the Month for his defensive performance, versatility, being able to be fast and get around the bases quickly, and the fact that he has shown that he's worked on his offensive approach and is trying to gain more of a sense of that plate discipline that we've been hoping for from him. So I definitely want to see continued improvement from him moving forward. He did sign that big contract extension, and there are a lot of Red Sox fans out there wondering if he was worth the money or if it was too small a sample size to give it to him. You could definitely make the argument that it was a little bit premature because the Red Sox don't know how he's going to pan out later in his career, but it's really hard to digress that much defensively. You either have it or you don't from a defensive standpoint. And we look at Jackie Bradley Jr. He certainly was not here in Boston for his offense. He was here for his defense and making big plays out there, and that made a huge impact. And defense helps win championships. I mean, if it weren't for JBJ in 2018 making some big plays in the outfield, the Red Sox probably lose more of those games. So the defensive aspect of a player's game is a little underrated, so automatically he's going to continue to make an impact defensively. It's just a matter of, can his offense catch up? And even if it doesn't catch up, I think the Red Sox value his defense too much to let him go elsewhere. So he's here to stay, and hopefully his offense continues to grow in the way that the Red Sox hope it does, because that's a very special talent that they have in him if that's the case. I think they need to consider versatility a little bit more when they're going for Rookie of the Month and they're considering who to give it to. No knock on Luis Gil. He's had a great month on the mound for the Yankees, but I believe that there needs to be more consideration in terms of what you do as an overall player to contribute to your team. And that's what I feel like Rafaela has that he didn't have, is the ability to impact the game more. So I am hoping we see bigger offensive numbers from him moving forward, because I have a lot of faith that whatever he adjusted in his swing and his plate approach is something that he can maintain, and we're looking at a very, very solid prospect moving forward if that's the case. Coming up, I'm going to be going over a really special moment for a Red Sox player who's been waiting for this moment for a long time. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I've watched my fiance win a ton of money on FanDuel, so if you want that to be your life, head to that as well. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're looking to stay caught up in all things going on in sports, no matter what time zone you're in or where you're at, Locked On Sports Today absolutely has you covered. So check that out. A Red Sox player who finally made his Major League debut on Sunday has been craving this moment for a very long time, and that is Jamie Westbrook. We saw some of him in spring training. He was taking some at-bats and was able to make an impact in several ways at the plate. So he was definitely impressing a little bit going into the season, but he started the season in AAA, and Alex Cora had said that he was visualizing a big moment for Westbrook when he was called up to the majors, and he got that opportunity to be in that spot on Sunday when the Red Sox lost a very frustrating game in extra innings against the Tigers. So basically, he came up in the bottom of the 9th inning with runners on first and second in 2 outs. And essentially what happened was he remained calm and confident up there, which is a pretty difficult thing to do if it's your Major League debut and you're trying to prove yourself. So he went up there and he took a 5-pitch walk, never extended himself outside the strike zone, and that gave Connor Wong a bases loaded opportunity with 2 outs. Unfortunately, the moment didn't really play out like a dream because Wong flied out to right field to end the threat, and then the Tigers went on to score those 4 runs in the top of the 10th inning to gain a split in the 4-game series. So not exactly how the Red Sox would have wanted it to pan out, but it was cool that he got his first Major League at-bat and he was able to work a walk in a high-pressure situation. That tells me that he can be ready for those big moments, because a lot of times if a player doesn't have that experience yet, they could fold under those big moments because they aren't used to having that many eyes on them and that much pressure on them. But he didn't get panicked by that moment. He stayed calm, didn't get pitches to hit, and he knew that he wasn't getting those, so he didn't swing and didn't force something that wasn't there, and that's something that I feel like Ceddanne Rafaela could continue to learn from. So he essentially was selected from AAA Worcester on Sunday because of the fact that Vaughn Grissom and Romy Gonzalez were both placed on the 10-day injured list, so he came up with Bobby Dahlbeck. The Red Sox transferred Garrett Whitlock to the 60-day IL to make room for Westbrook on the 40-man roster. Westbrook is 28 years old, a native of Holyoke, Mass. Actually, he batted .267 with a .364 on base percentage, .436 slugging percentage, .800 OPS, 5 homers, 13 doubles, 25 runs, and 29 RBIs in 49 games over 198 plate appearances for the Worcester Red Sox this season. He started games at first base, second base, third base, right field, and DH for the Woo Sox. So that's definitely very helpful for the Red Sox in terms of the fact that he has versatility and can play multiple positions, both in the infield and in the outfield. It's always good to have players like that on the roster. Can never have too many of them, because in the type of situation like this where somebody gets injured, you could bring him up and slot him into one of those spots on an as-needed basis. So that definitely helps for sure from the Red Sox standpoint. He was a Diamondbacks 5th-round pick in 2013 and never made it to the majors until now. He's appeared in 1,159 minor league games. He also has spent time playing in indie ball in Mexico. So it's pretty cool for him that he finally got his moment, and he was talking about it after the fact and just saying it was very surreal for him to have gotten that. His family was in the stands watching him get that moment, and for him, it has to be a cool experience to have gotten to go out there and take a major league at bat for the first time. And it goes to show you that this is what these players work so hard for, and spending all of this time in the minors and absolutely grinding through is for moments like that. Moments where they get that call saying you're going to be on the major league active roster and get your opportunity. That's the best news that a professional baseball player can possibly hear. And for somebody like Westbrook, he's been so patient in the minor league system, continued to believe in himself, was playing very well in Worcester this season before getting called up. So he earned the opportunity. And even during spring training, when he was taking some good at-bats for the Red Sox, I was saying that I'd be intrigued in seeing his ability if he comes up to the majors, because he definitely was putting together some solid at-bats, was able to put pressure on opposing pitchers, and he definitely has some of the foundational skills needed to be a successful hitter at the major league level, and his versatility is only going to help him. I talk about that a lot, but when you have players like him, Ceddanne Rafaela, who can play multiple positions on a team, it puts you in a more likely chance to be used more. Because if you look at Jamie Westbrook and Ceddanne Rafaela, not every player on this Boston Red Sox team can play multiple positions, and some of the infielders and some of the outfielders, that's what they play, and you couldn't just randomly put Tyler O'Neill in the infield because he's an outfielder, and you wouldn't just put Devers into the outfield because he's an infielder, but you can switch Westbrook around to play different infield positions and a little bit in the outfield as well. So I think it could be interesting to play around with him, see where he's at. He needs a lot of time to be able to showcase what he can do before we're saying that he's going to be a key piece moving forward for this Red Sox team. But guys like this who have stayed true to themselves, have built up all of this confidence over time, and have really worked on developing their skills in the minor league system, they deserve an opportunity at the major league level to go out there and showcase what they can do. And I think it's a cool moment for him. And he can also take away from his first major league at-bat that he put together a solid at-bat and gave the Red Sox a chance to walk off that game. And unfortunately, Connor Wong couldn't come through after that, but that's a high stakes situation. And asking somebody to make their major league debut in that spot is definitely a lot to ask of somebody, especially with the game on the line in the way that it was, with the chance for the Red Sox to win it. But he embraced that opportunity and he went out there and just did it. And I really liked seeing that from him. I think there's a lot to be said for players who will step into any role and do what you ask of them and won't even second guess it or question anything. And that's something that I give Bobby Dahlbeck credit for. As much as the Red Sox have played around with him and moved him around multiple times to a variety of different roles and different positions within the Red Sox organization, he hasn't questioned it or complained. He just does it. When he gets sent back down to AAA, he just goes. When he gets called back up to the majors, he just goes. And he is trying so hard to get that opportunity, and I think it's become clear that the Red Sox are just not the right fit for him. So I feel badly for Bobby in that regard, but I have a lot of respect for players who will just go out there and do it. And Jamie Westbrook stuck with it, stayed in the minor league system, worked his way up, worked really hard during the off season and during spring training games to put his best foot forward out there and give himself a shot to get that opportunity and make an impact in front of the Red Sox organization. So I give him a ton of credit. I'm really happy that he got his moment in a live game scenario. So I'm curious to see what he can do moving forward, because he is similar to Rafaela in terms of that versatility. Can he provide the same level of value that Rafaela provides from a defensive standpoint? Can he maybe be a more competitive offensive player than Rafaela is? So it could be interesting for him. He's entering the race at a very interesting time when Rafaela is starting to click in more aspects of his game. So lots of pressure on Westbrook to go out there and perform. But for him, it seems like he's grateful to just have that opportunity to be able to go out there. And I feel like because of that and having that mindset, he's going to go out there and he's going to ball out and be a player who plays the game with a ton of heart, and you always want those types of players on your team regardless. So I'm actually really excited to see what he can do in his time up at the major league level with this Boston Red Sox team. So we'll see what happens, because he is going to be in the lineup likely for a little bit of time now, because who knows when these guys are going to be able to come back. So he has the opportunity now to really showcase what he can do and earn more of a regular spot on this roster. Coming up, I'm going to be going over what I expect to be a tough series for the Red Sox, just like it was the last time they played them, and I'm going to be giving a preview of what to expect when the Red Sox have this 2-game series against the Braves. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. eBay Motors is a great resource for anybody, but especially for people like me who struggle to know what's going on with their car. So definitely check that out today. Also, just a reminder to check out Locked On Sports today, as we have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports today really will keep you updated on all things going on in sports, so make sure that you check that out today. The Boston Red Sox are starting a 2-game series against the Braves tonight. And last time they faced the Braves in a 2-game set, the Red Sox lost both of those games. The Braves are a very good baseball team with lots of resources that they can use. They are currently 33-24, and they have pieces that can create a championship caliber team. There's a ton of talent on that team, but their offense overall this year has not been performing up to expectations. It's been interesting kind of seeing the way that their offense has been struggling overall this season, and that's something that could give the Red Sox a chance, especially because Kutter Crawford is pitching game 1. He has a 3.29 ERA right now with a 2-4 record and 66 strikeouts. The thing about Kutter is he actually has shown some inconsistencies over his last couple starts and an inability to stay competitive for the entirety of his start. So what I'm going to be looking for from him is having the ability to strike guys out, go back to what he's been used to all season long, go back to utilizing that sweeper more often, because that is one of his best pitches now that he's worked into his resume starting last year, and it's just continued to get better. So continue to throw a variety of his pitches, because the thing with this Braves lineup is because they haven't performed to the level that we think that they might have been, this is the opportunity for Kutter to get back on track and really start to fool some of these guys. But he's going to need to have a very good start, because Max Fried is pitching for the Braves, 2.97 ERA with a record of 5-2 and 54 strikeouts. We know how good of a pitcher Fried is. He hasn't been overly good in terms of what we would expect from him or from an ace caliber pitcher, but he is still very solid. We need to be aware of that, and we know what we're going to get from him. He's going to be tough. The Red Sox are going to have to get at him early if they want a chance to get some runs on the board, because the best way for them to put themselves in a good position to win the game is to run up his pitch count. Fried is the type of guy that you can expect will be pretty effective, but if you are able to run up his pitch count early by working pitches, being okay with taking walks, is going to have that pitch count rack up. So lots of things the Red Sox as a lineup can do, and they've shown their ability to show a lot of plate discipline and work up pitch counts, but what they can't do is get into trouble with strikeouts, because this lineup has had a lot of strikeout problems, just a high rate of swings and misses this year, and he's somebody who will feed on that if the Red Sox are not able to make good contact. So that's something I'm looking for in that matchup, is can they ease up on the strikeouts, and can they think smarter when it comes to how they're attacking that baseball at the plate, so that they can run up his pitch count and force him to take a lot of pitches for certain at-bats. So if the Red Sox can put together longer at-bats like they've done multiple times this season, then they definitely have a shot. But I'd like to see Kutter Crawford go out there and have a good, consistent start, because that's something we haven't seen from him in a little bit. And then for the second game of the series, it's Spencer Schwellenbach versus Nick Pivetta. So Schwellenbach made his Major League debut in his last start. He pitched 5 innings and gave up 3 earned runs. He was able to get some exposure to being at the Major League level. The Braves did lose that game 7-2. He didn't really get much run support. Essentially, over the course of that 5 innings, he did give up a 3-run home run. So his stats from the game can be a little bit deceiving, because he really only made that one mistake. But for him, unfortunately, his team couldn't provide him the run support. So obviously a small sample size with him, hard to know for sure. He is at a 5.40 ERA right now, but I'm interested in seeing how he approaches the Red Sox lineup and how they handle him, because when you're facing a pitcher who has little to no experience pitching in the majors, it can be tricky, because you don't really know what that pitcher has. If you've never seen that pitcher before, sometimes it can be hard for a lineup to figure out that pitcher, and that could be something that works to his advantage, is knowing that this Red Sox lineup hasn't seen him before, so he can go in fresh, bringing his best stuff with him, and he could fool this Red Sox lineup overall in terms of the fact that they might not know what his best pitches are. They might not be able to stand there and feel confident in their at-bats until they actually see him start to throw some balls over the plate. So could be a trap for the Red Sox. Sometimes when you see a pitcher who hasn't had a lot of experience, it could seem like it's a good situation for your favorite team, but the Red Sox could be at a disadvantage here. Nick Pivetta, I mean, he has been very solid. Obviously, in his last start, he looked very good. So if he can continue with that, I do think the Red Sox can split this series. I don't think they'll end up losing both like they did last time. The Braves offense certainly woke up against the Red Sox the last time they went head-to-head, but I could see this being a split. I could see both of our starters having good outings, but it's a matter of, is the Red Sox offense going to be able to hit their pitchers? Because on one side, I see a starter who's very experienced, is really solid, and we know what we're getting from him, so he could keep the Red Sox runs low. And then we have another pitcher who the Red Sox haven't seen before, and they could struggle against him because of the fact that he's fresh to them, and they don't really know how well he executes on his best pitches. So lots of different scenarios in this game, but I definitely think this could end up being a split with the Braves. I'm hoping that it is. The Red Sox definitely need to find ways to win games because they are in a situation now where they are hanging around in that wild card race, and if they want a spot, they need to be able to perform under pressure and perform in big games and beat the more competitive team. So hopefully they can pull off a win in one of these two games. But like I always say, and you know the drill, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.